Kia ora, everyone who are listening and watching Voice of Aroha show. This year and this season, we are coming with a different style because we are bringing you a picture live this time for season 4. And we are very exciting that we will be covering a lot of projects that will create a lot of impact there for our communities and amazing guests that we will be bringing to this show. So keep watching our social media for our upcoming one. But today we have very special episodes and this very special guest that will join us will be introduced shortly. I want also to welcome the new member and the coming members of Voice of Aroha team. So team, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Great, thanks.
Amazing. Great. It's a little bit shy in Reem. You're very stumped. Very welcome, Reem. And welcome back to Ben and Rata. So I will pass to you guys. So Rata, would you tell us who we have today and what will be the topic of today we discuss?
Kia ora, everyone. It is so exciting to be back with Season 4 of Voice of Aroha. Today, I'm so excited we get a fantastic guest. His name is, I hope I'm pronouncing okay, Mohammed Hikmet. We'll find out from very shortly. And he is an incredible person who's an entrepreneur in New Zealand. We're very excited to get to talk about his success story and the impact that his work has made in New Zealand and around the world. Now, Mohammed Hikmet leads HMI Global, steering the strategic direction and research and aid as well as development for it. He founded HMI Technologies with his brother Ahmed in 1999. The business has since then become one of Asia Pacific's most innovative intelligent transport systems and autonomous vehicle businesses. So he's incredibly technologically gifted and makes an amazing change in our world, New Zealand society. He was recognised by industry peers, appointed as President of Intelligent Transport Systems in New Zealand in 2015 to 17. And nationally, he's also been appointed by the Ministry of Transport to the ITS Leadership Group. Internationally as well, Mohammed sits on the ITS World Congress Board of Directors and ITS Asia Pacific Board of Directors. He chaired the board, in fact, from 2013 to 2015. As well, he's also the head of New Zealand Delegation to the ISO TC204 International Standards Committee. So he's an incredible man. Here he is. It was very, very exciting to get to talk to him today. Lastly, he was named EY New Zealand Entrepreneur of the Year in 2019 and was a World Entrepreneur of the Year finalist for 2020. So with all of that said, what an incredible guest. Such a very, very warm welcome to you today, and we are very excited. How are you, Mohammed?
Hi, thank you. I'm good, and thanks to you, Rata and Kodrian, Ben and Rem, and thanks for Voice of Aroha for having me.
Thank you so much. What an exciting topic for conversation. How fantastic it is to talk to you. We're so much looking forward to it. Now, what an amazing list of things you've done. It's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how it has led to where you are today?
Well, it's a long story. I'll start from the beginning. I'm originally from Iraq, so we left Iraq in a very difficult time. We were a family of 4 with the kids, 2 kids and my wife, and it was war all the time. So it was difficult, and safety was the main concern to live there. It doesn't matter whether you are an entrepreneur or you are good in business or anything else. Safety comes even, more first into what you need to do. So we left in these difficult times. We spent some time in Jordan, and then the opportunity came to come to New Zealand, and we moved to New Zealand. And from there, the story started. When you are in a place where you look for your safety and you worry about your family, and then suddenly you move somewhere where this is all becomes a given, and you enjoy the peace and the way of living that you've missed all your life. You have no excuse other than you do your best to really work up the time that you lost in the past years. And this is what I've done, actually. When I started here, I remember I was good in computers. So when I came here, it was one of the first things that would try to do. So I started to fix computers. At the same time, I felt that I need to be in the system as soon as I can. So I went and enrolled in the university to study. And at night, I was delivering pizza. So I was doing 3 shifts per day. My wife was dropping brochures into the mailboxes so that people will know who I am and call me to do some work on their computers. And this was the start. It was difficult, but actually we enjoyed it, because it's the harder you work, the more you work, the more you get, and that's the best thing that you could have. Where I was there, regardless to how hard you work, you don't necessarily get the reward, because there are other factors, including safety, including security, the kids. There are a lot of things. So we are fortunate to be here. We are, yes, we are fortunate to be here. And I always tell this to myself, there's no excuse for me to do anything than be successful, because I've got everything that I need to have. And that worked well. And since then, we started to always look. Of course, computers were good, and we've reached a point where we had a very good return out of it. But we knew that the world is changing. At that time in the 90s, nobody would hear about computer. If you want to use the computer or connect to the internet, you need someone to help you to do so, to connect the cables of modem. There's dial-up, and probably most of you don't remember that. I actually worked on computers where the hard drive was this big, and it was 10 megabytes. And if you want to format it, someone needs to bring this to you, and it's a job for half a day. So this is how computers were before. But by time, computers became a very well-known tool, and everyone in the university started to learn about them. So it's not a profession; it became a tool that you use every day, and that did not really. So you can see that the future is not there as a business. This is where we wanted to take the business. So we started to do. We came up to sign business, and we specialized in the making signs for transport. And most of what you see on the road with the big signs on the motorway, school zone signs, speed indication signs, these are a product of HMI, which is abbreviation for Human Machine Interface. This is the company I co-founded with my brother Ahmed, as you mentioned earlier. And then in 2015, we started to say, okay, our signs are talking to drivers inside the vehicle. And what would be the future of our signs if there would be no drivers? There would be autonomous vehicles. And this is where we said that, okay, we need to really have hands-on on autonomous vehicle to understand, so that we can work with it. We went and brought one vehicle. We bought it from Europe, and we partnered with Christchurch International Airport to really have the vehicle there. Later on, the same trial repeated. We've done it with Sydney, and we've done it with Melbourne. So we had 3 vehicles around to look for them. However, soon we found that the vehicles were a closed workshop. They did not really allow us to interface with the vehicle. We were interested to communicate with the vehicle, have the vehicle to communicate with traffic lights. When people are arriving the traffic light can say, okay, I'm going to turn green after 9 seconds, so the vehicle can time its movement and load more passengers and move at the right time, so there's no stop at the traffic light. Things like that. Things would make transport very interesting. But we had a very strong no from the supplier of the vehicle, and they said, you've got a vehicle, you got to use it the way it is. And you're going to wait until we develop something. Otherwise, that's it. This is what you've got. So we looked around the world and there wasn't really anyone else sharing with us this idea, and we decided to make it ourselves. So we made the autonomous vehicles, and we introduced them to Christchurch with 3 vehicles, platooning. That means one following the other, communicating with the traffic lights, sharing the road with a tram, and we ticked a lot of boxes at that time. And since then, we just established ourselves as autonomous vehicle manufacturer in New Zealand. That was exciting because New Zealand was never a place for to manufacture vehicles. How about autonomous vehicles? So even our bank told us that you are not. This is not what you do. This is not New Zealand. So go back and do the science. Forget about autonomous vehicles. But the more people tell you no, the more that you get attracted to do it and to go to that side. So I thank them. I thank my bank because they told me that you cannot do it. So now. At the moment, we've done the first and the largest 3D printed vehicle in the world. We've done the first 5G vehicle that goes with the shuttle that uses 5G. We have established, we've got a license to be on the in Korea to be on the roads. We've have a contract with Luxembourg in Europe, and recently at JFK in New York, we are doing a trial where we are having 3 shuttles moving, platooning, we call them platooning, moving close to each other with only 2 meters apart and doing almost 40 km per hour. These are all challenges, and the list is coming, so you'll hear more about us. Yeah, so this is where we are now.
Thank you so much for sharing that fantastic story, Mohammed. That is so incredible. It's also amazing the way that you've managed to future think about what we need in the future and stuff like that, and think, okay, what's going to be the next step in technology and stuff like that, and move now ahead of the curve. But also how you respond to challenges. That's incredible. Just thank you so much for sharing that absolutely amazing story. Reem, I wonder if you have any questions further adding on to that for Mohammed. Thank you so much.
Just going back to the challenges that you faced, what will be some of the challenges that you face, you didn't think that you will face, but more of the unexpected challenges that you will face?
So you are asking me about the challenges and how I deal with them, yes?
Yes.
Moreover, every challenge is an opportunity. And that's a very good rule to move on. If you take the challenge as an opportunity, look at what in that challenge things that makes you better than someone else. And that would be the main rule, and that works so well. You've mentioned that I've been on the board of directors and president of ITS New Zealand until 2019. Actually, the chair of the board at that time was someone, a mentor and a person who I highly respect, is Peter McComb. And Peter McComb, one day I went to him and say, okay, we have this tender, but we are struggling to get it through, and we have some difficulties. And he looked at me and says, Mohammed, let them eat your dust. And from there, I am in the business of making a lot of dust for others to eat. And this is the best thing that you can do. I mean, I mentioned to you a lot of things, but that was always, don't look back, look forward, and keep concentrating on the task that you are doing. And that would be the best thing that you can do. Just move forward, just forget about back. At back, it will be the dust that you create from your success. Let the others worry about the dust, and you concentrate on where do you want to go. And that would be the best formula to take on challenges, take on. I'll share this with you. Take on COVID. COVID is a challenge. And the COVID is a very difficult time. If you go to any business, they will tell you COVID is the worst time for us. It's so difficult to do everything. However, the good news that COVID effect is on everyone. It's not only on us. So while everyone keep their head down because COVID is there, if you keep standing up, just keep standing, doing what you are doing, you'll be better than the others who had their head down. So what we've done during COVID, it was the opportunity in Korea. We've sent the vehicles, and through Zoom, we were commissioning the vehicles because no one was able to travel. Our client had the vehicle, and normally an engineer will go from here to teach them and train them and commission the vehicle. Everything happened through Zoom. And I believe that we were one of the very first to use Zoom for that, not for conference, but for commissioning autonomous vehicles. But that was really a success there. So we've while others were closing down and they couldn't really move forward, we've made one of the main milestones during COVID. And that differentiates us from the others. So here we are. COVID changed to be an opportunity instead of having it as a challenge.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Being able to use those opportunity as they come and able to just take it firsthand. That's really amazing. I just want to ask another question, which is, how important is climate change to you?
Okay. As you know, we make shuttles, and the shuttles we are making are all electric shuttles. So by then we are addressing this from the widest point of view that we could actually contribute to that. However, where we have the shuttles, if you think as this is the journey from A to B, and in the middle of the journey there would be a bus or transport or public transport that takes you from this train station to that train station, from this bus to that bus, or this ferry terminal to that one. That's in the middle. You see that there's a gap from your doorstep to the bus station, to the first one, and one at the end. We call this first mile and last mile. These are the ones this is the missing link. This is where no one is addressing. And actually, when you leave your home, it's the time where you make the decision whether to take the keys out of your pocket and use the car, or you're gonna go to the public transport and use it. Having a mode of transport that takes you from your doorstep to the bus station will contribute to make you make that decision. And the same thing where you have another shuttle that waits for you at the other end to take you to the final destination. Especially if it's raining, if it's cold, if it's hot, if it's all the weather. Not every time sometimes you feel tired, you need to really get a ride there. And these influence to change that decision is so important to contribute to the climate change.
We know recently Ohmio's the self-driving shuttles arrived in Wellington. Can you just tell us a bit more about that, the idea, how it started, and what motivated you to this idea?
To get it to Wellington, or to make the autonomous vehicles?
If you touch on both.
Okay. First of all, we have done an international workshop in Queenstown it was late in February. So the vehicle went there. This is with the help of Waka Kotahi, and it was the first time a vehicle that goes on a live road. Before, whenever we demonstrate, we need to close the road and have the vehicle to operate there. This time, the vehicle was operating on an open road, and that was the first time that has been done in New Zealand. On the trip back to Auckland, the shuttle stopped in Wellington, and we have demonstrated that again with Waka Kotahi. We had it at the waterfront there near Te Papa, and to show others this mode of transportation. You know, many would hear about autonomous vehicles. You think that autonomous vehicles are the same, but they are not. There are categories of them. So what we do is the first mile, last mile shuttle. And I think the best way to prove your case is to give someone the chance to ride one and to be on one, so that they can themselves, you know, it's an autonomous shuttle. I don't know what's this. Once you get in, your experience would change from being really nervous and looking everywhere. There's no driver there. You'll find after maybe half a minute or another minute, you'll be looking at your mobile phone and, you know, checking your emails or social media. You'll forget about this is really being driven by itself. So this is the idea. The idea is to have people to get the chance to get such experience. In New Zealand, we don't have autonomous vehicles, so such experience is not really always available. And we plan to do the same thing, to take the vehicles in other places and get them to be used. Actually, most of the usage that for the vehicles that we are now getting overseas under this thing. First, they get it for trial, and then now there are some deployments. We see some deployments. So this is the reason behind that. As if why I chose Ohmio, why is this? I've told you this came in from the future of science, which is our main business, and then we found ourselves that we wanted to make that future rather than getting hit by something that's going to come from outside. And that's always good to think ahead. Okay, I'm doing great now, but what about 5 years from now, 10 years from now? How's things going to change? And this is really, if you start to think about that, then you can control the change. And that's a very powerful position to be in. So this is what we chose.
I saw the trials at nearer to Papa, and I was absolutely amazed about the ride and how smooth they are, and incredibly comfortable. And I was actually quite surprised in terms of how stable they actually move. So it's an incredible experience, and I hope to see more of that. Do you expect that to roll out in Wellington within the next a few years?
Well, I hope so. I think Christchurch also is on the top of the list. The mayor of Christchurch actually attended the workshop in Queenstown, and he was impressed with there. And as you know, in Christchurch we've had our own shuttles really started there. So it's always good to have that, going there. I hope other places in New Zealand will pick it up. Airports, hospitals, residential complexes, other places, universities, campuses. This is all places where the shuttle would be really suitable to be utilized there, and you can have it there to assist with the transport, to, as I mentioned, to fill that missing link in the transport journey for a person. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Mohammed. I really appreciate it. Kodrian, do you want to follow that up?
Yes, I think Reem may have another questions before I have another 2 questions. Then we are coming close with that. Reem, do you want to go? Your question?
Just like one last question, because you mentioned how like the company contributes to climate change. So the question that we just want to ask is, what would you say is the next step for HMI and Ohmio? And will we see this growing to compete with the other electric cars?
Well, we are an electric car, and then it is not only electric plus autonomous. So the electric car contributes to the climate change and to reduce the emissions of carbon emissions and everything else. But there's a really important bit on top of that, which is the safety and the autonomous part of it. Every time we move the vehicle, we record all the surroundings of the vehicle, what is happening there. So when we implement something else, when we implement something new, we are able to go back to all the recordings that we have, and we can implement that change, and we see how the vehicle will react to that new thing. So every kilometer that we do, every kilometer that we record is going to be banked into our database, and we use it as an experience. So everything new we develop, it goes through that, all the kilometers that we have driven there. And that's really a very important safety feature that we could have there, so that we can improve the safety as much as we can. We in New Zealand, we lose almost a person a day as a result of the fatality in transport. 93% of that is due to human error. And if you take that around the world, it's 1.3 million per year. One is too many. 1.3 million. Imagine you are in a business where you see someone is drowning and you go there and grab them and take them out of and save their lives. How proud you could feel about it. Imagine you do 55 of them every day. You do 155 every day. This is so great place to be and to do that. So it's the climate change which is important, and that's the electric part of the vehicle. But we see the other part, which is the autonomous, and making the vehicle autonomous, and the contribution to safety is also a very, very important one that could save a lot of lives.
Just a quick follow-up on the safety aspect of it. There was a safety issue which was actually mentioned in social media whilst the trial was actually going on, which is for those who are with disability, for hard of hearing, or who are blind. What are the safety measures which are actually considered to be implemented to Ohmios once it's actually rolled out? So it is actually inclusive and have got those with disabilities in mind.
Well, I'm glad you've asked this question. This is a very important part of Ohmio. Ohmio is a big connected vehicle. So that vehicle is capable of connectivity, get the data from wherever you want. And for example, if I'm a person with some disability, I could really have that on my phone, and without taking my phone out or doing anything, once I come close to the vehicle will understand what kind of disability do I have, and then reconfigure itself to deal with me with my disability to make my transport journey seamless. This is, I believe, so important. So no dependency on others. Any person with any kind of disability would be able to be in the transport and go utilize Ohmio or vehicles with these technologies, because the vehicle can understand what kind of disability the passengers with what disability there, and reconfigure itself. That's a really important way of dealing with it. So we are really working on that. We are working on voice commands. We are working on really the visual interaction with the passengers, and all these are so important so that the vehicle can be as inclusive as possible to get everyone in it. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's awesome. I'm just listening and enjoying these conversations, and while team asking the questions, it's how Mohammed, I'm seeing how inspiring you are for the journey that you have started, and the idea that you're doing 2-in-1, which is the safety for people and also inclusive for the other people of disabled people to be able to part of this vehicles that can be inclusive and those that's accessible for them. And the second thing is you're also doing that idea that contribute to our climate change, reducing the emissions. So I really like that. My final question, because we're coming at the time, I really don't want to finish this podcast. I want to get as much we can, but I also respect your time and the opportunity we have here. I want to ask you, as a person who's been through all this journey of development from until you are now, what's your advice for our youth? I know you said about challenges make them opportunities, but what you would say to someone who just arrived to the country, let's say from refugee or migrant backgrounds, what's your advice for them as a person who did all this achievement? So Mike, to you.
Well, the main thing is nothing is impossible. And, you know, the harder the target looks like, the higher its ranking becomes in priority. I would be attracted to the hardest. You know, I don't want to be number 5 or 6 in doing something in the list. I prefer to be number 1. And this is something in me. I believe that New Zealand is a place where you don't need to worry about your safety. You don't need to worry about whether your kid's going to have food or not. We are fortunate here. This is it's a beautiful place with a beautiful weather. With everything goes here, and you know, we are. When you look around, I travel a lot around the world, and every time I come back, I say how fortunate we are to be here. Okay, when I chose New Zealand, actually, when I managed to come to New Zealand, managed to come here, I applied for as a skilled migrant to here, but at that time I didn't have much options, and in the situation where we were in, I would take the first option that comes. But that option appeared to be the best option ever that we had. And I look at it, I see how fortunate we are. Now, once you come here, my advice, work hard. There is no, you know, yes, someone would say someone is lucky. But, you know, the harder you work, the luckiest you become, the luckier you become. So the luck is really related to the hard work. You just put in the efforts that you can to put in, and it would, you know, I can almost promise you that the success. I look at, you know, the previous friends that I had back in Iraq, and I just feel about what a waste of energy and time they've been left there. Some of them they didn't make it and they passed away because of the war. Every one of them could be me and could be even better than me in achieving something here, employing others, making New Zealand better, making a place better to live. In my opinion, I haven't done something super, you know, superior to others. I've done what I wanted to do, and it was always, you know, I mentioned the hard work and keep focusing on achieving the goals. And I just feel how waste it is for others who didn't have that opportunity to be here. So I would say to you, the person who you are asking me to advise, I would say to you, you are lucky. You are lucky by being in New Zealand, and you are fortunate to be here. Make the most out of it. This is all left on you. You can achieve what you want to achieve, and you can get it done. I can give you several examples other than myself, that people, successful people who just by just being in New Zealand, it changed their life and allowed them to really contribute and be the best that we could have in the community. So just take on the opportunity. Take on the opportunity. This is already a great opportunity here.
Awesome. Thank you. That's it. Take the opportunity. Hard work and give back. Thank you so much. And I will pass it to Rata.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. That was an incredible interview, and you have such an incredible story, and we're so thankful and appreciative for all the wisdom and insight that you've shared. As a youngish person myself, I'm really appreciative of the way that you've really embraced those challenges and what an inspiration you are as far as perseverance and all those sorts of things. Thank you so much for your incredible story. Thank you for all the contributions you've made to New Zealand society. You're absolutely a change maker, and it's so exciting to see what you're going to continue to do in the future and the ways that you're continuing to shape our world and make things for the better. So thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing to have you share your story and insights, and also towards your solutions, contributing to reducing our emissions and saving our cities and planet. So thank you so much for that. We're coming to the end of today's episode. What a wonderful korero it has been. It's been also amazing to chat about the ways that we can change the world with to try and improve climate change and to change all these things that are threats to our planet and make solutions for everyone for the better. We also want to thank Wellington City Council, who is one of our very generous sponsors. So thank you to them for sponsoring this conversation, as well as Wellington Community Fund, who are able to give us the funding to be able to have this amazing korero with you. So we're also very appreciative to them. But thank you also to our audience for listening, for watching and listening. Stay tuned for our upcoming guests. But for today, just thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. Mohammed, for this incredible conversation. And we're very, very thankful for all of you. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon, everyone. Thank you to my fabulous co-hosts, Kodrin, Ben, and Reem. And thank you guys so much. And just want to say goodbye from me, but thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.